Answer me, damn it!
Come on, buddy, let me hear your voice. I'm sorry.
Is it Nick?
He's alive. Nick, confirm your position.
I'm 200 meters from the door. Bearing 320. But I'm injured. I need help.
God sent. Feels like this whole damn place is coming down. Salim. Salim, come in, man. Are you there?
I am surrounded. I'm in real trouble here. Vampires. So many vampires. What's there to think about? We go back down there. We die with them.
He's a dead man. We need to go. That man is not one of us.
You're wrong. Salim is one of us now. Marines don't leave their own behind. You hearing me, Salim?
If I don't make that, tell my son I did everything I could.
Tell him yourself. I'm coming to get you.
Come to join the fun.
honestly just throw that thing at me.
I did.
Let's get out of here.
Takes more than a few bats to kill you.
Oh man, that was unfucking believable. Those things were all over us, but me and Salim busted through them like it was the last down of the goddamn Super Bowl. Listen up. We're not out of the woods yet. What I see in front of me, you're the best. Fuck that. The best of the best. We will get home.
Hoorah! Hoorah? Hoorah!
This way! Hurry! Come on. We go together. Statue! There's a way out! We made it. Soak up those rays, guys. Soak it all up.
You still with me, buddy? We got two alive. Very fucking ready to go home, Marines here.
Dropkick to Coyote 2. Radio check. Over.
This is Rhino 1-5. Solid copy. We're 5 minutes from your position. Where the hell have you guys been? Over.
We got back up again. We beat the enemy.
I forgot how bright it is out here.
You think those shepherds are still around here? I could use a cold one.
I must return home to my boy.
He must be worried about me.
No, not again. Inside! Get inside! Now! If we stay out here, we die! Shore up the defenses! Lock this place down tight! How long until the damn eclipse passes?
6 minutes, Max. We just need to hold out.
This is way too long!
Can't rush the damn moon. You're breaking inside. My last flip.
Anyone got any more bright ideas? Is this it? Flares? Where's the ammo?
Light them. We can hold them off.
This thing knowing you.
Thank God. We made it.
We've got 5 survivors. One of them's a PW. Returning to base.
The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell a hell of heaven. Bravo! It appears your charges have emerged from their hell in one piece, although this ordeal will continue to haunt them for the rest of their lives. I look forward to our next encounter. Perhaps I'll choose a story that's a little more homely next time, somewhere you'll be guaranteed of a decent night's sleep. Rest assured, wherever it is, you'll find it extremely hard to leave. Until the next time. You know the way out.
You're late, and you look like shit.
I just got off the red eye. What's your excuse?
Good flight?
Oh, shit movie, shit meal, no leg room.
They cram you in the back?
By the toilets.
Nice.
Coffee wasn't so bad, though. Good fucking muffins.
Did you read the brief?
On the flight. How's it going with the analysis team?
4 of the ISG units survived. They're being debriefed through here. Shall we?
After you. And the entities?
Like nothing we've seen before. Kolchak Jason, First Lieutenant, Marine Force Recon.
The best of the best, huh?
Or so they advertised.
Fuck! Now how many times do I have to keep telling you the same damn story?
I understand. However, CENTCOM needs to iron out any irregularities.
Such as? The whole fucking thing was irregular.
Such as why you allied with an enemy combatant?
You weren't fucking there! Those things were ripping us to shreds. I don't give a damn who it was. We needed all the help we could get. I stepped back into that hell to save Salim. And that man was worth 5 of you people. Semper fucking Fi!
So they cooperated with an Iraqi soldier down there?
Republican Guard, if you can believe it. Must have made a hell of an impression for Kolchak to go back for him.
I'm dying to meet this guy.
I am not answering any more questions until I see my son!
That's not how we do things around here.
You don't have a clue. Jason came back for me. What does that tell you? Down there, this damn war of yours was over.
I'd like to talk more about the entities.
The vampires.
I'm finding it very hard to believe that you killed those things with that.
Untie me, and I'll show you how I did it.
The analysis team are still pulling specimens from the site. It's carnage down there.
They use dynamite?
We don't know how they got their hands on it.
No, I'm done. I told you already. It was a city, a goddamn city full of those things. There were cocoons down there. Fucking thousands of them.
How many organisms were still alive down there?
Too many. Oh, for Allah's sake. They're all fucking burned.
This is like Winterfold all over again.
Uh-huh. And here we have Colonel Eric King, our in-house genius. He definitely got more than he bargained for.
Everything you know about biology just went up in smoke. These things, they're advanced. They're stronger than us, more intelligent than us. If you want to get ahead of this, you need to start taking me seriously.
None of us doubt the severity of the situation, Colonel. A number of people have died.
I made it out alive. And I'm going to make sure those things stay buried in that hellhole where they belong.
Let's move on to Kalis.
Well, do you believe me now?
This is Miller. He'll be fully debriefing you.
Debriefing? You need to get your damn priorities straight. Those things are still down there. What are you doing about them?
There will be plenty of time to talk things through. Right now, I suggest you count your blessings that you came through the other side. It's nothing short of a miracle that you survived down there.
I learned not to rely on anyone but myself. I was stronger than them all.
We'll be back shortly.
We still on for next Sunday?
Janet's making hot pie. You bet your ass we're on.
I'll never get used to this job.
Why would you want to?
At least this one was localized.
Small blessings.
So, what do you make of it all?
Doesn't matter what I think. Only thing that matters is controlling the flow of information. As far as the world knows, not a damn thing happened here.
You want to know what it means to be a killer? Think of the most profound thing you've ever done. The most beautiful thing you've ever created. And I promise you, it's nothing compared to watching the life bleed out of someone. To see the fear in their eyes. To feel them pawing at you for release. To hear them pleading, begging. That's true art. That's what you have to be, an artist. I've left my mark on the world. Have you?
September the 24th, 1945. When Lady Bradshaw summons you, you go. Mary and I were bound for our honeymoon, but the chance to dine with one of Britain's finest antiquarians was too great for us to miss. When we met, Bradshaw wore a brooch that caught Mary's eye. A Sumerian relic recovered from a dig site in the Hashemite Kingdom of Iraq. After dinner, she showed us another find from the same site, a gold cuneiform tablet. She called it the final puzzle piece in her life's work, a map that pinpoints the tomb of Alexander the Great. If she's right, the tomb lies somewhere on the border of Iraq. Lady Bradshaw wants us to lead her expedition. I realize now that our honeymoon will take place in a dusty dig site in the Zagros Mountains. April the 2nd, 1946. We have assembled our team. Top of my list was my old comrade from the wars, Captain Sherman Crowe, the bulldog of Omaha Beach. We found him in Cairo, brawling for money in a Levantine drinking club. Crowe recommended an experienced dig foreman, Arthur Pullman, and in Haifa we picked up my assistant, the always inquisitive Aline Journeau. Lady Bradshaw insisted on the presence of her own advisor, Ellis van Hoyten, an archaeologist I know only from his poor reputation. Our team complete, we shall head to the Lebanon and from there by train to Baghdad. October the 21st, 1946. Crowe was the first to break into the tomb, an honor he shared with Bessie, that damned machine gun of his. It was a beast of a weapon, but it seemed to comfort the fellaheen doing the digging. This place has lain undisturbed for centuries. It is not the tomb of Alexander the Great, but a temple of an even older god king, the Akkadian despot, Naram Sin. We have been mistaken, but Lady Bradshaw still declares it a find for the ages, a discovery that will write our names in the annals of history. Looking out at this sceptred hall, I have no reason to doubt her. The catacombs beneath the temple are heaped with human bones. Aline has worked sacrificial digs in El Castillo, but even she hasn't seen death on this scale before. The Akkadians killed thousands in the name of their gods, most ritually decapitated, but others crudely slain and dumped in charnel pits, as though the slaughter had spiraled out of control. What plague or cataclysm demanded such a price? So much blood spilled. And for what? Whatever happened here millennia ago, it is a secret waiting to be discovered. Our work begins in earnest. December 7th, 1946. Our finds have been so spectacular, I couldn't resist breaking out the champagne. As I entered the survey tent to pour a glass for Mary, I realized something was awry. She'd found Bradshaw's crate of dynamite. I tried to calm her, but she worked up a full head of steam, sounding off about the risks of using explosives at a dig site.
Bring the roof down!
She was right, of course. I feel terrible for hiding it from her. Just then, Crowe arrived and picked up the dynamite. When Mary ordered him to put it down, he looked her boldly in the eye and said they'd found something below. The bottom of the chasm stank of death and was littered with corpses, fresh enough to be covered in flies. Crowe thinks that local bandits must have tossed their victims down here after robbing them. I pity those hapless wanderers. The fear they must have felt as they tumbled to their doom. But this was not what he wanted to show us. An unearthly light pierced the rocks. When Mary asked us what it was, Bradshaw nodded to Crow, who broke open the dynamite. She said she intended to find out. Blowing a hole through the rock face, we found a gateway to a strange world below. A phosphorescence emanated from beneath, casting its eldritch light over us all. Lady Bradshaw was insistent that we descend further. Perhaps Mary is right, and Bradshaw is becoming reckless and uncontrollable. But I can't stop thinking about what's down there. I am now working with Crow and Pullman to set up a winch and elevator to descend into the shaft. What mysteries lie below, I wonder, undisturbed by the world above. December 13th. Crow, Bradshaw, and I descended in the elevator. As we left, I was struck by the change in Bradshaw's temperament. She seemed eager, almost manic in the face of our new discovery. When we reached the bottom, Crow could not prevent himself from letting loose an oath. There before us, set in a dizzying vault, lay a city. It was loathsome, colossal, and sleeping. A great carcass built in some ancient age before men. Overcome with awe, I fell to my knees. December 28th. God forgive us. For days we have studied this dead, silent realm and its entombed abominations. Now the horrors have come for my own dear Mary. Crow found her unconscious in the Star Chamber, her notes scattered around her. He carried her back to our supply room and laid her down in one of the cells. When Bradshaw learned what had happened, she was evasive about Mary's work down there. As I cleaned my wife's face, she spoke to me in a fever, sounding distressed and confused. I have resolved to keep a vigil over her. I pray her fever abates so we can escape this cursed place. December 29th. Pullman says the radio has been sabotaged. An expert job, with vital wires severed. Someone wants to cut us off from the outside world. Eileen fought in the Resistance, but while she is undoubtedly capable, I refuse to accept she's responsible. Personally, I still harbor doubts about Van Hoyten, although without proof, everyone remains a suspect. All I can do now is place sentries on the expedition's equipment. 30th of December. Mary's condition worsens. This evening, I awoke from an exhausted daze to find Lady Bradshaw asking my wife more of her damned questions. Mary was babbling something about winged demons. At this, Bradshaw's eyes lit up and she asked whether Mary could sense them now. Gripped by delirium, my wife lashed out, clawing at Bradshaw's chest. Lady Bradshaw withdrew, and I was, after a while, able to calm my wife. December 31st. Mary is dead. I sat with her in her final moments, telling her how sorry I was. Sorry for accepting Bradshaw's offer, for ever coming to this hell-forsaken place, for placing my vanity above our love. When Mary spoke about the end of everything, I knew she sensed death coming. With her last words, she made me swear to bury this place. "9 p.m. Something unholy has happened. As I sat with my wife, I noticed something in her hand. Lady Bradshaw's brooch. She must have pulled it from her shirt when she grabbed at her. Turning it over, I noticed that it looked like one of the creatures we'd exhumed from the cocoons. Were these the demons Mary had spoken about? Had Bradshaw known all along what we'd find down here? Then Mary's corpse moved. It was not my wife. It was something inhuman. It leapt at me, and only the bars of the cell spared me from its fury. The camp is in uproar. Workers are missing, and Lady Bradshaw has returned to the city deep below. No one knows why, but I can guess. She yearns for the same fate that befell Mary. She wants to be one of them. First of January, 1947, 1 a.m. The saboteur has struck again, sealing us in here. We are hopelessly trapped with those things. All around us, they shriek from the darkness. Crow has set up his machine gun, pointed towards the catacombs. Mary was right. We cannot fight that which does not live. There is only one option now. Bring the whole damn temple down on them. Even if it means bringing it down on our own heads. They cannot be allowed out of here. When this temple falls, my wife and I will be buried together, side by side. I owe her that, at least. The portrait that I carry in my watch case is the Mary that I remember, not that thing in the cell. This was all Lady Bradshaw's doing. She knew all along what was down here. She led us to them. I found her below, hunched over the murdered corpse of Van Hoyten. As she turned to face me, I saw that she had changed. My hand fell to the closest weapon I could find, an iron tent peg. I stabbed her with the metal, impaling her in the heart. She died. Unholy screams echoed from deep below, as if answering the sudden release of blood. They are coming. We must end it here, with fire and gunsmoke. If there is time, my last act will be to dictate this diary onto tape. Perhaps, if it is found in the rubble, it can serve as a warning to any who follow us. The bones of this temple are drenched in blood. We have set foot on an uncharted shore and roused something ancient and wicked. A blasphemy that comes in indescribable shapes and forms. For eons we lived as children in this world, unaware of the horrors that slumber beneath our feet. Now we have blindly thrown open the gates to madness. I fear being taken, but I must do what I must. We must seal this place for eternity, for all mankind. Mary, I'm sorry.
The creature has powerful claws and fangs formed from hardened, unidentifiable tissue. 2 of the incisors appear grossly malformed and discolored. Blood is like nothing I've seen.
We always like to base our stories in some sort of real-world truth, a piece of folklore or a piece of mythology. With vampires, obviously, there's so much to choose from cultures all the way around the world. So rather than pick one particular legend, we thought it would be fun to create a monster that ties all of those legends together in some way. So we had an idea for a creature that lives underneath the ground and emerges every few years. Our vampire is actually an alien parasite. It invades a host body. The creatures that you see in House of Ashes, the winged demonic creatures, were actually once an intelligent race of cosmic nomads traveling through the stars on this big generation ship. They somehow picked up this alien parasite and it ravaged through their crew, and their ship went out of control and crash-landed into prehistoric Earth, where it was buried under the ground in what is now the Zagros Mountains. Being a parasite, this alien slug needs to find a host body, a living body or a recently dead one. Once it invades that body, it grows inside it, killing the host if host is still alive. And its tendrils reach out into the host's brain and hijack its central nervous system, sort of reanimating it. It then goes on the hunt for blood. It feeds on the adrenaline in blood. So in order to get the adrenaline pumping, it needs to terrify its prey. So it shrieks at them and drags the kill out until the blood is really, really pumping, and then it strikes.
You keep lookout. Fuck!
Look out for what?
We wanted to show the viewer different forms of the creature and make them think that initially it's a demon, then they think that it's a vampire, and then finally the revelation that it's an alien.
So just to explain where the parasites have come to infect some of our game characters, this shows a game character who's going through different stages, is infected, starts to affect the character, and there's a final look from that where the fangs are coming through the skull. So that's one of the developments of how our classic vampire is actually a host. Another example of that is an Akkadian warrior who's been taken over by the parasite, and again the fangs have come through, the vines are poking through the head. This human is now being taken over, his skin is dying, the parasite is trying to grow within. But we progress that into looking at the design on the alien demon, I call it. This had to have very unique elements that came through from the head design. So we've got a very animalistic head here, but also we've got the fangs. These fangs are coming from the parasite that's within, so the fangs are coming through. It's almost deforming the shape of the host.
Oh, shit. What the fuck happened to your teeth, buddy?
We refined that further to what is our final head, where the ear is part of the skull and it flexes open. A bit like a frill lizard, where the frill of the canopy comes out, our head is actually moving apart. And we've got illustrations that show that, where the head is dormant and is concealed, but then as it hears and wants to resonate, the skull expands open. And that then allows the creature to hear and pick up on anything within the environment.
With characters, it's always good to base at least some of it on anatomy that we recognise, and that provides a foundation for the vampire. It's bipedal and human in its structure, but we've just changed things, tweaked them, made them a bit more alien. So, for example, the ribs joined together at the sternum to form a rib cage, but we've expanded it out quite a lot, and some of the ribs are fused together to make bony plates. It's just to suggest that it's had a very different evolution from a human. We tried a version with human-style legs, but in the end, we went for a dog-type leg. It just made it more creature-like and more threatening. And we added bird-like talons on the toes, just to give it some natural weapons and make it into a predator. We didn't want to focus too much on bat reference, because we were trying to steer away a bit from the classic bat-like vampire. We did go for 2 sets of bat-like wings. One of the shots in the game is of the vampire jumping down from above, backlit with its wings out in an attack pose. And when we saw that pose, we decided to add an extra set of wings attached at the hip joint. It just really helped that silhouette.
The environment is very interesting because they can use not just the floor, they can fly as well.
They can't walk on the walls, but they've got claws. So imagine something really interesting in a cave where you've got creatures coming towards you, from every angle. I think that visually is something impactful and very interesting to look at, and scary.
One of the interesting parts is the finding of those nuances and details that really bring the character to life. How does it move? How does it behave and act? We had motion capture, and then we had the more traditional computer animation keyframing. On the motion capture side, there were a variety of different setups that we tested. We had arm extensions, and then we had various different leg stilts that our creature actor used. But what was apparent when filming this was that it really limited his movement. So in the end, we decided not to use any of that, and he just performed himself. Basically, this gave him the freedom to really express that physicality in acting and gesture.
They react to sound like bats. They hear you. They hunt you.
The vampires have these head plates, these bony kind of gristly structures on their heads that click and vibrate, kind of like a bat's echolocation. They're used to survey environments and to locate prey. We went through a lot of different iterations, and we tried a lot of different things. Like I think I sampled keyboards and mouse clicks, and then used a scooter fender and a wet trainer, and it made this organic, clicky, squeaky sound. And then I had a friend of mine in the States take a taser to a bunch of meat and a bunch of like organic material, and it came out a lot more aggressive. It just sounded meaner.
I got something for you!
And then the biggest thing that we had was this little tiny drum and a rod with fishing line in between it. So when you twisted a rod, it made this clicking and popping sound. So that ended up being one of the main tonal layers for it. But none of them quite fit right. But once we put them all together and like layered them all together on top of each other, then it started to actually work as a holistic, organic thing.
Something entirely new to House of Ashes, which is a classic horror movie trope, is the vampire point of view shots, which we use a very wide lens, and we use some perspective distortion on those shots, which helps sell the power and hunger of the vampires as they're chasing the soldiers, and it helps make the soldiers feel very small and very weak. And doing so, it also helps us as the player realise that these vampires are inhuman, and that when we're watching what they're doing, they're bouncing off of walls and they're climbing on the ceilings and flying. At any time in the game, the players could be running through an endless maze of tunnels, and we use very tight shots on these with a lot of handheld, a lot of tilt again, to emphasise this claustrophobicness and this tension and not being able to see what's chasing them. And it's in complete contrast then to later on in the game, where we see these grand environments that they uncover, which could be a temple, a city, or things like that, that we have these wide shots that really sit still and just let the player soak in that environment.
This is the most complex creature that we have ever animated in the studio. But the challenge is more than a challenge, is the fun to do it. Because it's not a real creature. You can push it in a way that you can use your imagination to make it more interesting.
We're facing an enemy we know zero about. An enemy of unknown size and their home turf. Sucks to be us.